So here's the thing.
I don't even think I can do this.
Yeah, this doesn't even feel like we should bother at this point.
Yeah, good movie season starts in a week. In a week, we start getting all the good shit.
Just one.
One more week. A week from tomorrow, we get Avengers. And then after that, a series of movies that, whether they're good or bad, I'm at least interested in seeing. So, I guess we're ending the beginning of the year with a fucking bang, because this is by far the worst thing I've seen so far this year. Easily, hands down.
Yeah.
Fuck. I don't want to do this anymore, man. We go see one Nicholas Sparks movie, and now we're stuck for fucking ever.
Yeah. But look at it this way. They don't put out nearly as many movies about, his books as, like, Tyler Perry puts out movies. So.
There has been 10 Nicholas Sparks movies so far. There will only be more.
Well, yeah, but here's my thing. What wasn't there, like 2 years ago, we got, like, 3 fucking Tyler Perry movies?
Yeah, but that was 2 years ago. We haven't had to go to one since. There was only one last year. And we didn't go to it.
Well, that's true.
This is...
But I'm just saying, like, this should hopefully be the only Nick Sparks movie...
For the year.
One and done.
It's so far, it's...
I'm waiting for the universe to now prove me wrong and give us, like, 2 more.
Oh, yeah, it'd be the first thing.
Because I said it out loud.
Yeah. That was fucking painful.
Yeah, that's... So this was a movie about all kinds of things that me and Dave are super into. Like cowboy culture and bull riding and fucking nothing. Really, just
nothing.
Nothing.
There was a side story about collecting art, which...
It was a side movie about collecting art.
Yeah, which... If it was about the actual art, I would have been fucking sold. But no, it wasn't. It was about bullshit. It's about bullshit. This movie was awful. It was one of the reviews I read earlier today, because for shit like this, I feel like I have to prep myself now. Said it was a combination of The Best of Me and The Notebook, and goddamn was that right.
That was spot fucking on.
Fucking 2.5 hours almost. Just tedious and boring. And, fuck. I hate this shit.
It's the funniest part to me about this whole movie is the fact that it revolves around bull riding. A sport. Yeah. That, if done correctly, only lasts a maximum of 8 seconds.
But every time there's an 8-second ride in it, it's like 5 minutes fucking long.
Every goddamn time. It's like that final fucking one in the movie. He's riding the bull, and you're like, that's gotta be 8 seconds, and then it pans over the clock 3 seconds, and I'm like, fuck off.
Well, then it'll cut to weird slow-mo.
All the slow-mo. All of it.
Which I will say, the last big ride in the movie, like, some of the slow-mo shots were really impressive and kind of cool. But at that point, I didn't care.
Well, and even past, like, if it looks good or not, I mean... It's a guy riding a bull. Like,
yeah.
Okay.
So
I don't care.
Just
I don't
just
care.
To get into the plot of this shit.
One of the plots.
Yes. Girl from Jersey is going to school in North Carolina, gets dragged to a bull riding competition by her sorority sisters.
Come on. Half of the house is going. 4 people went.
4 people, 3 of them, you would never see them at a fucking bull riding competition.
Not just convenient, because after they get there, they immediately disappear.
Yeah. Meets boy later at bar. They go on a date, come across a car accident, and it's Alan Alda, who has given up on life. Alan Alda, who, by the way, okay, so then it starts in the Notebook shit, where they're going back and forth between Alan Alda's story with the love of his life, and their story.
It relates to the Notebook in that there's letters and
yeah.
he was in the war and all
yeah,
that shit.
they're reading his letters, and that's how they're telling his story.
None of that fucking matters at all.
No, none of it does. What I'm gonna say, and of all the things about this piece of shit movie to gripe about, this is the one that sticks with me like a sore thumb, is Alan Alda's character, and his storyline takes place in the early 40s for the most part, into the 60s, but the early 40s. Mm-hmm. The early 40s. And the actor playing him is very obviously... The actor's obviously around 30, maybe older. But we'll give it movie time. We'll say that character's 25.
That's being
generous.
That's generous.
Yeah, that's being generous. We'll say this character's 25.
That's like donating,
yeah,
like, organs generous.
Probably intended to be around 20, but I'm going to say 25 and be generous. So if you do the math... If this character is 25 in 1940, they say 1940, that character now would be, let's see, we'll add 60 years plus another 15, so that's 75 years. So the character's 100.
Mm-hmm. At least.
Being played by Alan Alda. Now, admittedly, Alan Alda, it's hard to think of him this way because, you know, we all grew up with MASH and everything, and in reruns at the very least, in syndication. So it's hard to think of Alan Alda as this, but Alan Alda is an old man.
However,
Alan Alda, technically speaking, is only a few years older than my parents. Alan Alda is not 100 years old. He does not look 100 years old. He does not act 100 years old. And even if this character is supposed to be 100 years old, why the fuck is he driving a car?
Well, he doesn't do it very well.
Obviously not. And also, why is this car that crashed into a tree on fire?
Well, because he crashed it.
Yeah, no, fuck that. I'm sure Brad has commented in videos before about my driving when I was younger. I've totaled cars. None of them lit on fucking fire. It doesn't goddamn happen.
Well, you didn't do it right.
Apparently not. So yeah, Alan Alda is supposed to be a fucking 100.
He's looking really good for 100.
He's fucking...
And having been in a car crash.
Yeah! Actually, all he has is a Band-Aid on his forehead. Yeah, 100. He's a fucking 100 years old.
But if you're going by how the dude actually looks, dude looks like he's at least like 30, 35.
Oh yeah, the actor? Oh yeah, easily.
Well, it makes it
It's weird because he just has odd features. It's not that the dude who's playing young Alan Alda is like a bad-looking dude by any means. It's just he has odd features.
Yeah.
And he does not look like a young Alan Alda except for maybe in the eyes. Because he's way too big.
He's a bulky guy.
Like, I know Alan Alda he's a tall dude, but he's not...
He's fucking
He was
wiry.
never, like, bulky. He was a wiry guy.
Yeah, this guy, it makes it more confusing the whole way through because Alan Alda only plays himself at, like, 100 plus.
Yeah.
In the movie. The other guy plays him from when he's 20s-ish in the 40s all the way up through, like, judging by the clothes, like the 70s.
I wouldn't even say 70s. I'd say
like
mid-60s.
Well, like, at a point, like, they started putting in, like, there's, like, a little wisp of gray here on his temple.
But nothing else.
But yeah, no, he looks the same, so, like, it's like, oh, we got on through the years. It's like, it looks like it's a week from when this movie started. Like, nothing's changed. You're the same actors. You're just dressing different. That's the only way you could tell time was passing. It's like when you watch like a vampire movie and it's like oh, you can tell that right now like is taking place in the 50s because he's wearing like a fucking Letterman's jacket. Yeah. Like, oh, you can tell that this is the 80s because he's wearing like fucking, wicker shoes and shit.
Yeah, so much of the time framing in this movie is so goddamn ridiculous. Because then you get to the main story, which the two young lovebirds, the college art major, who's not interested in making art, who just wants to fucking sell art, which is fine, but I don't know many...
That's a weird career aspiration. I would like to sell other people's artwork.
Well, it's a good living if you can get it and you're good at it, but at the same time, I never, in all my far too many years in art school, met an art history major that wasn't trying to be an artist as well.
Yeah, that kind of
The art history majors were honestly the kids that were smart enough to realize, like, I'm not going to make a living doing this myself. Like, they were the smart kids in art school. But it's not that they weren't trying.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's like the sort of thing, like I assume that if you're going through art school, it's because you want to be an artist, you know? If you become, like, an art dealer, that's, like, after you've peaked. You know, like, oh, you got somebody who's, like, a professional, like, you know, like a professional, like, basketball player. Oh, he gets too old to play. Guess what? Now he's like a team manager or like a commentator. Oh, you got, you know, any profession out there, like, you have the people that do it, but then you have the people who do it, like, when they've gotten too old to fucking do it.
The flip side of that is, oddly enough, I've never met a curator or an art dealer that was an artist. It's really weird.
How do you just happen to go into that field then?
I think a lot of it, we're digressing a lot because we don't want to talk about this horrible fucking movie. I think a lot of it is people that have business skills and acumen that might have a passion for art that get involved, but it's never because they went to school for it. Not that in my experience, I'm sure there are people that have, but just not in my experience. But yes, okay, the bull rider and the art student person chick, who is a weird little clone of Jennifer Lawrence, but without the acting skill.
Or the charm.
Yeah, and the cowboy, who is Clint Eastwood's son. Well, honestly, like, he's a dude I'd be interested in seeing in other movies. I think he had some charm to him.
It'd be nice to see him in something better than this.
Yeah.
But if this is the best he's got, maybe don't put him in anything that he's just gonna ruin.
Well, like, the dude looks like he was born to play a fucking superhero.
I mean, yeah, he's got that kind of chiseled jaw and, like, you know, just big muscular frame.
Well, he looks like Eastwood, but filled out. You know? But yeah, they meet and they're going through all the normal Nick Sparks stuff. They meet, they fall in love, they go on dates, they break up, they fall back in love, they break up again, so on. And all this happens, and this whole time, this movie drags so long that you feel like this must be taking years. And then you realize the movie placed a time frame in it, and it's only taken 5-6 weeks?
Tops.
Because
that's all she...
And this is their whole drama in this 5-6 weeks since they've met.
Met, yes.
Not started dating. First
met each other. It's not like they're, like, old friends who've just reconnected or some shit. Like, no, like, she literally just fucking met this guy.
And probably didn't even call him back, because that was a weird thing they were going through. Probably didn't call him back for at least a week, maybe 2.
Yeah.
So they've technically been dating maybe a month. And not even regularly, because they went on a date.
And then the Alan Alda thing happened, and then they didn't see each other for at least a week because he was feeling way better.
Yeah. So they've been seeing each other for this very short period of time. And during their big breakup, what about our life that we've planned together? It's like, you people are fucking crazy.
I gave up everything for you. I gave up my hopes at a career for you.
For a month and a half? Dude must be good at using that dick.
He doesn't even have an address. He lives in a barn.
I honestly do not think it should be impossible to see a movie or something with a romance in it that's not with insane people.
It seems like it should be possible. But there you have it.
Like, I'll admit, I've fallen in love quick before, but I don't plan my life with someone after a few weeks.
But yeah, I mean,
I might plan my summer with them.
Because that was breakneck speed.
Yeah, oh, it was quick. Like, this whole movie probably takes place over the course of 2.5 months. But I mean,
because it's still like that time frame when you're like,
but like 20 years of drama.
Your birthday's next week? No shit. Yeah. You didn't tell me when your birthday was.
It's like,
or like you reach out odd thing where you're like, ooh, I'm goofy mad at you. Middle name. I don't know your middle name. I've never thought to ask what your middle name is. Oh my god, I just realized that.
The biggest conversation you have at that point is, what the fuck do you mean you don't like vanilla ice cream?
Yeah.
You know, it's
like, what? Yeah. You've never seen one single Buster Keaton film?
Yeah.
How is that? Okay, no, I can understand how that's possible.
Yeah, I can too. I can too.
You didn't watch The General?
It just fucking the absurdity of all the setup of this movie, and just everything that happens in it. Like the whole this guy, he's a bull rider, and he was seriously injured, almost dead a year earlier, but he's come back and he's making his way back up to the top of the leaderboards. And when his first comeback, he's ranked at like 50. So I mean, it must not be hard to get to the fucking top.
Well, there's only 50.
Yeah. But he's making his way back up, and everybody's telling me he shouldn't ride anymore because of his injuries that are not explained. Just general,
you never explain what his problems are. Like, they keep alluding to the fact that he's got some, like, severe problem after this big accident.
Yeah.
And, like, he's always taking some kind of pills.
Never says what it is.
And everybody keeps telling him, like, it's like, why? You could die. Ah! He goes, like, he gets injured in one of his rides and has to go to the ER.
You'll never ride again.
And yeah, the doctor's like, it's like, girlie, if you like this guy at all as a person, you'll convince him not to.
We're using my phone as a light source and someone's texting me. It's gonna get dark for a second.
Where did I go? But, yeah, no, it's... He gets told that, you know, like, this doctor is telling them, like, oh, well, if you like this guy, you're gonna need to convince him to never ride again, because the next time he even looks at a bull, he'll probably just spontaneously die. His injuries are that bad. There's, like, an x-ray of, like, his head next to them. It's like... There's no explanation for what he has, although apparently it's god-awful.
Well, yeah, and here's my question to that. So it's... I'll deal with it in a minute. Sarah, stop it!
Oh, that's Sarah.
Anyway. Oh, it's real dark without this. Pause for commercial break.
La 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 da 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 da.
Okay, we're back. Okay, so this very general thing that
my phone's adding no light to this situation.
Kill him at any time. This sport obviously has money involved with it, because everybody has sponsors. And the championships are in Vegas, and they have lights and fire and shit. These things that
fucking laser show.
That aren't even at the championships. This is just like the regionals and shit. Lights and fire and shit. There's money put into this. He's sponsored by fucking Ford, because that's on his jersey. There's some pretty bad product placement in this movie. Ford and Bud Light. A lot of Ford and Bud Light. But he's sponsored by Ford. How the fuck is he insured? Like, I know it's nitpicking to the extreme, but this is a dangerous sport. He has a serious life-threatening injury. How the fuck are his sponsors okay with him riding a bull?
It's probably got some sort of, like, insane liability things in there.
Yeah. I know that was nitpicky shit, but there's...
It's like, oh, if you get bucked off and you can't ride anymore, we get to cut off your legs or some shit. Like, I don't know.
Oh.
One hell of a rider.
Yeah. Yeah, this movie does absolutely everything wrong, from questions of timing to logic to... Even the sex scenes are weird. Because the one with...
It's like a kaleidoscope.
Yeah, well, the kaleidoscope one in the shower, where... Obviously, they're not actually having sex, even though they're trying to imply it, because she's at least 2 feet shorter than him. and they're never at the right, like, level. You know what I mean?
Like, he's just got a really low crotch and you couldn't tell.
Yeah, he's either got a super long torso or he's fucking her belly button.
He's 6'7", but his legs are only like 3 foot.
Yeah.
Super long torso.
And the other...
Got like an 18-pack going down, you just can't tell.
And the other sex scene that takes place in the 40s on Victory Day, on VE Day, like he had come back from the war and was suffering some post-traumatic stress because he couldn't get his wife pregnant because he was shot in the stomach, and that made him fucking sterile.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious what kind of doctor they took him to.
Yeah. Well, they're like,
oh, you got shot in the stomach. Well, here, we'll just bathe you in mercury or something.
Yeah. And he's like, it wasn't the wound, it was the infection. And like, that was a hardcore infection. How did you live? Because they didn't give that much of a fuck in a field hospital, I'll tell you that. But they get back together.
Lucky to have like penicillin and Band-Aids.
They get back together on VE Day, and they end up fucking in the middle of his father's department store on the display bed with the doors unlocked and the windows open.
And it's like high fucking noon.
Yeah.
They were having a ticker tape parade in front of his shop. It's on like Main Street.
Yeah. Yeah. So they just start fucking in the store.
God bless these American states.
Yeah, nothing about this movie was really redeemable in any way.
Well, and it was impossible to get invested in anything, whether it was the boilerplate romances or anything like that. Just because of the fact...
Sarah doesn't care about it shaking the camera, she's texting anyway.
Just because of the fact, like, every single character in this is one-dimensional. There is no character in this that has anything going on.
No.
No lessons are learned, no envelopes are pushed. Nothing really happens. Like, he's a bull rider at the beginning of it, and by the end of it,
he's still a bull rider.
Yeah, she asks him to give it up, and then he says no, wins the championship, and then says, like, okay, I'll stop now. I'm like, well, you did you could have retired now anyways, you asshole.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, I'll never race again after I win first place. It's like, no one changes at all in this entire movie. Like, the bull rider guy, what do we know about him? He rides bulls. What else? Nothing else. Art girl, what's she into? Art. What else is she into? Nothing. Alan Alda, he's old and has letters. What else? Fuck off! That's all you get. There is nothing. Every single character in this is just a one-sentence description.
Yeah, no, this movie is like a shitty, abusive husband. You ask it a question, it smacks you. You ask it again, it smacks you with the same hand and says, shut up, I already done told you. Yeah, there's just nothing to it, and everything, because it's a Nick Sparks thing, everything is wonderfully coincidental. Oh, and over the top, so. Over the top. Like, we could get into all this ridiculous shit, because through this whole thing, the 40s Alan Alda's wife was an art person, too. And had issues with him going to war and their relationship. But she starts collecting art in the 40s. He buys her a piece and they start collecting art together because they can't have kids. So they start buying artwork. And I'm not even going to get into the weird half hour where they were trying to adopt a child.
And then tried stealing someone else's kid.
Tried stealing a hillbilly boy.
Suddenly turns into a really boring version of Raising Arizona.
Yeah. Not even getting into that shit. I'm just, as always, I'm gonna ruin a fucking movie right now because who gives a fuck about this piece of shit?
Who the fuck is watching this is gonna be like, oh man, I've been waiting all week
for
the longest ride review so I can know if I should go watch it.
There's one 14-year-old girl that stumbled upon this by accident.
And you think she's still watching now?
Yeah. Just out of shock. What are these two ridiculous chubby white dudes talking about?
It's like, man, they're really jealous of his abs.
Yeah, fuck.
Yeah. I'm comfortable.
Yeah, the way I look at it now is I've come to the realization that I'm fat because I'm happy. And I'm okay with that. I'd like to be thinner, but I get fat when I'm happy. And I'm happy.
I rationalized it the other day to Letty, just saying yeah, I'd like to eat a little better and maybe work out a little bit more than what I do. But at the same time, all of my clothes are sized for this frame, and I'm just so fucking lazy. It's like, I could buy new pants, or I could just not lose any more weight. Just make sure not to gain any more.
Maintain.
Yeah, I'm comfortable.
Yeah, fuck it.
I'm 31. The fuck do I care?
Yeah, I'm not trying to chase down girls anymore. I'm good where I'm at. But anyway, collecting art, and then he dies. God damn it, Sam. Wow. Your light's still there, right?
Yeah. It's kind of weak, apparently. We don't have to edit this.
Nope. Anyway.
Collecting art.
Collecting art, then he dies, and at this point, our two main kids have broken up, and he goes to the championships, and she's dealing with his death and losing her scholarship, and he invites them both to the auction of their art collection that neither of them has ever seen. And they both go, and magically enough, it's like fucking Warhols and fucking Liechtensteins and
next item on the auction block is a wonderful Jackson Pollock.
Yeah, Jackson Pollock. I swear to God, I saw a fucking Rothko in there and shit. Just like every, from the 40s to about the 70s, modern American artist just is represented in this what would be an amazing goddamn collection worth, if not millions, close to $1 billion. I'm easily, but
it's all about finding the right buyer.
Oh yeah. But they go to this auction that takes place like less than a week after this dude's died.
He's barely in the ground. He's barely cold.
If even a week, like with like invitations printed and shit, and like magically everything moves so fast in this movie.
Like the big auction books and bringing in collectors from apparently around the world.
I mean, honestly, this process should have taken months, if not years, to appraise and organize all this stuff, but it takes place in days.
And he's had this shit packed away since 2000.
Yeah, it's all been in his basement, I'm sure. But she's amazing at all this wonderful art, and he's standing in the back of the room. She hasn't noticed him yet, and the first piece up they sell is a portrait of his wife done by a former student of theirs who was the hillbilly child they tried to steal. And the lawyer gives some speech that Alan Alda's character had written before he died, and this whole auction turned out to be a ruse because this gives this beautiful speech about, or intended to be beautiful, about Alan Alda's wife and the meaning of their collection and how much his wife meant to them and what the art was to them. And the first thing up is a portrait of his dead wife. Alan Alda's dead too at this point, of course. But it's a portrait of this woman, done by one of her former students, that was revered. And
just some guy, though, so all of the art collectors that are in the crowd are like, I'm not bidding on that. No. And I was sitting there like, come on, get to the juicy bits.
Yeah.
And they're like, all right, we'll start bidding at $1,000.
Nope.
All right, nobody 1,000, like 800.
Nope.
Man, I'm talking like 600. Like, just grab it and go.
Oh, I'll buy it.
Anybody? Nope. Anybody?
I'll buy it.
I'll give you like 15 chances. Anybody? For real. Hammer coming down. All right, he bought it. $600.
So he goes in, signs for it, reconnects with the girl. They start making out.
Yeah, they fall in love immediately.
Yeah.
I gave up bull riding.
Oh my God, I want your dick. And they start making out in the office, and through the window you see everybody in the auction house flipping out, and they call him back out. And it's announced that since he was the person that bought what was the most important piece of artwork to Alan Allen's character.
Crazy secret stipulation in the will.
He gets all of the artwork.
Auction's over. He bought it all for $600. He's a multi-fucking millionaire now.
Cut to indeterminate time later.
Could be a week. Could be 5 years.
In this movie, who fucking knows?
It's impossible to tell.
Girls sitting in a gallery with all these amazing pieces of artwork in this very nice modern gallery. And you just think, oh, this is a nice little gallery with all this artwork. Because keep in mind, all this artwork that they had filled their house. A house. A 2-story house. And then...
Granted, they had like 0 wall space with all this shit hanging though.
It's quite a bit of artwork, but it's still just a house. And he pulls up in his pickup truck, and she walks out of this gallery, locks the door, walks away, and you see this gigantic, brand new fucking huge building. Museum. The Ira and Ruth blah 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 museum. Really? You'd have to sell off a good chunk of that collection to build that fucking building. Like, you have to.
Well, no, because you have to remember, just before he came to the art auction, he also became the undisputed bull riding champion.
He didn't go to the championship. He gave it up right before the championship.
I thought that was the championship.
No.
Well, then fuck him. He probably got like $1,000 in like a t-shirt.
Yeah, if that. Like all the free Red Bull he could drink beforehand.
Apparently she's really good at investment brokering. I don't know.
Yeah. Fuck. Just ridiculous. Every Nick Sparks movie just happens.
It's not even like she works there. It's like she runs the place. She fucking just owns it.
Yeah. I was honestly amazed that he didn't die. To me, that was the twist.
The twist is that no one died.
Besides the old man that gave them all their money.
Which, again, like, that part straight from the last one we saw.
Yeah.
That Best of Us one. Like, I know how to get these two back together who are having a fight.
I'll
die and insist that they both have to come together as a stipulation of my will.
Yeah. This movie was a fucking piece of shit.
It's the longest movie I've ever had to watch about bull riding.
Was it, in fact, the longest ride?
You know, I liked it at the beginning of the movie when we thought that the movie was over in 8 seconds because it starts with him bull riding and immediately getting thrown to the ground, and then it cuts to black. I'm like, oh.
Done.
Well, it's in and out.
Or we just saw the ending. It's one of those.
Shit, did we get here late?
This is easily going on the top 10 worst movie of the year list, unless Fall is awful. Which, Fall usually is pretty fucking awful, but it's gonna have to be pretty awful to knock this off the top 10.
Yeah, I don't think there's a very, very high probability that this movie won't be on the list by the end of the year.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, the problem is going to be remembering it.
So I got something with bull riding, and
yeah.
I don't know. She had like one of Hitler's paintings. I don't fucking know. I don't know. It was a bait and switch. Something.
Should we even bother with fucking trailers, or should we just fucking go home?
I'm fine with that. Just mentioning though, like the trailers we had were so fucking random.
They really.
Like, this was, like, the romance movie, and I expected more, like, romance trailers or, like, musical stuff. I mean, it had, like, some stuff that made sense, like Pitch Perfect 2.
Aloha, the new Cameron Crowe.
Yeah.
Okay. Pitch Perfect 2, probably similar audience. Like, the fucking Southpaw trailer was the first trailer we got.
Which was oddly, like, impactful for this kind of movie. Yeah. Like, okay. And then,
like, I get it. Someone dies, someone's sad. Okay, that might fit along, but at the same time, that movie looks a whole lot darker than anything we just saw.
Yeah. Or, like, they showed the trailer for, like, Poltergeist.
Yeah!
But, like, fucking, like, that's the first time I've seen, like, the Mission Impossible trailer.
What? I'm guessing that came out last week with Fury 7, but I'm not sure. But I can't imagine that premiering with this.
Like, oh man, they know their market.
This movie technically, I think, was one of last week's movies too, because you weren't able to go. So Brad's been holding us out to go see this piece of fucking shit.
Hell or high water. Oh, my wife's in the hospital getting surgery. We can wait till next week. Like, oh man, I can't today because she's still like down and out. Oh no, we can wait a few more days. It's like,
fucking hell.
I just can't win. I just cannot get away from this movie.
Whatever, it's over.
But yeah, just those trailers just fucking all over the goddamn place.
Yeah, what were the other ones? I pulled a Sarah. I wrote them down. Okay.
The Gift kind of threw me because it's like, okay, well, you know, you got...
Yeah, I see Jason Bateman, I'm like, oh, a comedy.
Yeah, I figure like, okay, it's either a comedy or like a quirky, like family, like indie type movie.
Or something like a Mike Judge movie or something like that. Because like you expect something lighter than like a weird kind of...
Yeah, this was like... It was like watching a trailer for like Cape Fear.
Or like Single White Female.
Yeah.
It was very much a 90s thriller kind of trailer, you know?
It's like, this is really dark, and I'm sure that one of those boxes he had on his porch had like parts of somebody in it.
No, I think it was the dog that kept showing. Like, killing fish and shit, and like, I don't know. Yeah, there was The Gift.
That was just dark.
Aloha, Pitch Perfect 2, Southpaw, Mission Impossible. Something called Paper Towns, which, admittedly, I mean, probably not my kind of movie, but not a bad trailer, you know? Like, sometimes we see shit like that. It's like, that's not a movie I particularly want to see. The trailer tells the whole story, but it's not a bad trailer. Like, it's like, this movie might be watchable in the sense that, like, oh, it's a week where nothing else is playing, this movie's coming out. Fuck it. It'll be one of those reviews where, like, we saw a movie.
Yeah. It looked like... It said it was from the people who did, like, The Fault in Our Stars or whatever. Like,
but it looked better than that.
It looked like a combination of, like, for the teen crowd, it looked like a combination of, like, The Perks of Being a Wallflower and Gone Girl.
Yeah, kinda. yeah. Only not the murder, I think.
Yeah, less murder, but more like, you know, finding out who you really are.
Yeah. Finding true love on a road trip.
But yeah, just a really odd trailer.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, like, it doesn't look like a bad movie. It doesn't look like a movie I'd watch if not for like something like this where it's like, oh, you see Paper Towns, like, I guess.
Yeah. And then they ended it with Poltergeist right before the movie started. It's like, and like I was telling you in the theater, Brandon and I talked through this entire movie because fuck everybody else in there. They don't deserve to see good shit if they're paying for this.
It was like us, like a handful of like high school girls and like 200 empty seats.
Yeah.
I'm not really feeling too down about talking.
Yeah, but that fucking Poltergeist trailer, it's like I've said to you, and I've had this discussion with Brad, is I don't think it's a bad trailer, and I actually think that movie will be good, decent, if not good. But I've seen that movie. I don't necessarily need to see that movie again. Because it doesn't look like they're going to take it any... It's the double-edged sword of the remake of something like this.
If nothing else, it looks like they're going to take it maybe a little more seriously.
Yeah. But that's
which I don't know if that's what this movie needs.
Yeah, and that's the double-edged sword of these remakes of movies like this, that it's like, yeah, I could see them, like, a remake of that movie is not the worst idea in the world, but at the same time, unless you're going to take it somewhere really different, there's not much of a point. I mean, because the movie as it exists is like, when they remade Straw Dogs, it's like, that movie's still fine. Like, it doesn't need to be remade, it holds up.
Well, hell, I've seen so many movies that are remakes of Straw Dogs anyway.
Well, exactly. But, like, why straight up remake Straw Dogs?
Like The New Kids.
Yeah.
Fear with Mark Wahlberg. That's just Straw Dogs.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know. There's so many movies that, like, that one I couldn't even really get upset about. But, like, this one, you're like, I'm more optimistic.
I wasn't upset. I was just like, why? Because even the trailers for the remake of Straw Dogs, which apparently wasn't that good, it was just like, yeah, that's Straw Dogs.
Yeah.
It's like the trailer for Poltergeist. Yeah, that's Poltergeist. Nothing new.
Like with this one, like with an updated take on it, it seems slightly more palatable, just because it is updating it for these current times.
Yeah.
Like I just like, even the fact that like her standing in front of the TV, I like that it wasn't just snow, because your fucking giant flat screen TV is not gonna have fucking snow on it.
Yeah.
Like, just
if you don't have that channel programmed in, like, there's gonna be nothing there.
Yeah, so I liked that it was just like messing up looking, like if you dropped it and like picked it back up.
Yeah.
Like maybe we could still watch Will and Grace reruns. Nope. Like, so it's just all blips and blurs and like just artifacting and flashing. Like, I'm okay with that. But yeah, it's just, I don't know, like it could be a fresh take on things and kind of bring it back. But that's one of the reasons why I was so fucking violently against like the Evil Dead remake, because it did nothing really different. Like,
it did nothing different. At the same time, I don't think that was bad. I just don't think it was fucking necessary.
Well, yeah, it was wildly unnecessary.
Yeah, it was actually a pretty good movie. The fucking effects were amazing. But did we need that movie? Not really. Now I'm really looking forward to the TV show that's coming soon.
Oh yeah.
Because fucking Bruce is back. And I hope it's campy and ridiculous. It needs to be.
Well, it's got him, and it's gonna be kind of, pairing him back up with Lucy Lawless. So
yeah, whatever. She's done some awesome shit in the past few years. Anyway, we've probably talked for at least an hour, right?
Oh, it's long enough.
Fuck this. I'm going home.